to Jockey Nutrition. I'm here with sports dietitian Rebecca Hay. And do you want to tell us a bit about yourself, Rebecca?
Yeah, I work with the Elite Athlete Program here at University of Sydney, and we have loads of different sports that athletes do, and we look after those guys with their nutrition, but they've also got access to a sports psychologist and strength and conditioning coaching as well.
Now, you may have seen on our Instagrams, we did a sweat testing with an Ironman the other evening. So do you want to tell us a bit about sweat testing, who you would do it for and why it's so important?
Okay, so we sweat tested on a watt bike last week, and it was a triathlete who's looking to do, I think he's doing Kona, he's doing Busselton in early December. So it's a very, very hot race traditionally. And what we're looking at with him is what his fluid losses are and how much salt he's losing in his sweat. So very particularly with the sweat tests, that you would have seen the patches that we were measuring, that collects the sweat, and then we send it off to a lab and they measure the sodium content.
Now, you started doing this, was it because he was fatiguing as well? Or?
Yeah, no, he actually, in a very brief discussion with him beforehand, he actually was having issues with collapsing and ending up in the medical tent. And that happened the last time he did Kona. So we're really just trying to, number one, work out why that happened, and I'm actually speaking to him later today about that, but also giving him his sweat testing results.
Okay, and so if they have a high level of sweat rate or concentration of their salt, you would supplement it, or how would you resolve that?
So for someone who's doing an Ironman, it goes beyond just giving them enough salt in a drink to facilitate absorption. So it actually comes down to replacing sodium as well. So for him, it's about giving him enough sodium to get him through the Ironman. So, and I actually haven't looked at the numbers yet, but if he's losing 1,000 milligrams of sodium for every litre he's sweating, we need to make sure we're putting as much of that back as we can.
Okay.
But also, getting the right amount of fluid back as well. So it may be that we try and get 80% of what he's losing of the fluid back in when he's actually competing, and then worry about the rest later.
Okay. And now, just in regards to the actual sweat test itself, so you go into like either a treadmill or a bike?
Yeah, so look, it can be what's most applicable. And I think for him, because the bike is technically going to be the longest part of a triathlon, an Ironman, it just makes sense to actually do it there. And I have to be honest, not many athletes in the run will get the right amount of fluid in. If you can get it in on the bike, that sets you up then for a better start, at least on the run.
Okay. And you do 2 patches, forearm and forehead?
Yeah,
usually?
So there's several different sites. So forehead's a really good one because most people who exercise will know that you produce a lot of sweat that runs down into your eyes. So that's a really good one. Forearm, front of the chest, back and thigh is the other side. So you just pick what's most accessible. For him, on a watt bike, it was really easy to do the forehead and the forearm because I could actually see the patches.
Okay, beautiful.
Yeah.
And just to clarify for the jockeys out there, it was purely out of interest that we're doing this video because we happen to have the availability to do a sweat test, but you don't particularly need to do that as a jockey, no?
No, so I would not do it for probably marathon runners and above would be where I'd be looking at that. Just the everyday athlete, it probably doesn't need to, unless they are having really bad problems with cramping, vomiting, dizziness, those sorts of things. But routinely for an Ironman at a relatively high level, I'd probably do it. I'd do a sweat test.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for your time, Rebecca, and we'll look forward to chatting to you in future about more information regarding sports nutrition.
Thanks, Megan.